Hey y'all, welcome to Cheap and Shitty. Nope, you're not watching the wrong channel. We done up and moved house. See, they was increasing our rent back at the old place. And that place was fine enough. It was too much for what it was already. But they jacked up the rent again, and that right, it was shitty and overpriced. So now we're in this nice new place in a new town. It's great. And maybe I'll tell y'all some more about that later. But for today, we got our first Cheap and Shitty from the new place. We're talking about Zackariah Harris. That here's some Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. A smooth, classic whiskey. Distilled, aged, and bottled by Glenmore Distilleries. You might recognize Glenmore from some other Cheap and Shitties we've been doing. From Louisville, Kentucky. 40% alcohol by volume, which is about average. Now, as you've probably noticed on some of these other bottles, over here on the side it says that they love to hear from their customers and tells you to go to the Sazerac website or email them at ZachariahHarris@Sazerac.com, which is fine. Oh, there's some text on the side. I always like to read the paragraphs or whatever they put on these bottles, because sometimes they don't, and sometimes it adds to the flavor, a little bit of like intellectual flavor for it. So, Zackariah Harris is made in Kentucky, where bourbon is an art form and where generations respect the hard work and time-honored traditions that make it America's most treasured spirit. Rich, smooth, and delicious, Zackariah Harris is a classic Kentucky bourbon. Well, now I don't usually cover a lot of Kentucky bourbons or American whiskeys in general, just because of the price point. Now, that's nothing to say bad about bourbon or whiskeys. I like them. They're real nice. They're kind of like Scotch, though, in that they got to be from a certain like place, and there's so much like provenance involved in it that it just doesn't really translate on down the price scale very well. Now, as you can tell just by looking at this bottle, they're going for a Jack Daniels kind of vibe. Oddly enough, Tennessee whiskey, not bourbon. But you got your we'll get down to Zackariah Harris, let me tell you about that. But we're going to you start up with your Jack Daniels, and then you kind of come down to like Evan Williams, and then there was another one I can't remember the name of, I think. It's another person's name. And then you got Zackariah Harris, which is great because you get to say Zackariah, which is a real fun name. Have y'all ever seen a middle-aged person named Zackariah? They're always like little kids named Zackariah. Oh, come here, Zackariah. Or an old man just like walking with a cane. Oh, that's old man Zackariah. But you don't see a whole lot of like 30-year-old Zackariahs, which is understandable. I mean, it's a real cool name, but a lot of times it's shortened just to Zach. Leave off all the Kariah, which is a lot of vowels, a lot to talk out, a lot to write down. But yeah, so this here's our Zackariah Harris Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, it's got a bit more flavor. It's aged a little different than the Canadian whiskeys that we talked about. But let's just get right into it. What'd you say? All right, let's open her up. Ooh, right off the bat, you can tell there's some flavors in here. It's got a distinctive smell to it. Y'all can smell it. Well, maybe not. We ain't there yet. We're living in the future, but we ain't that far in the future yet, which is probably a good thing, because, well, I showered this morning. But all right, let's see what it tastes like. Pouring our shot here. Gloop, 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 gloop. Ooh, that looks cool. Now, something odd about this one is you can kind of see, like, I keep my whiskeys in the freezer, and that's another good thing about this apartment. Our old freezer was kind of small, but now our apartment's bigger. Even our freezer's bigger. We got 2 bathrooms, y'all. We got 2 damn bathrooms. We can use 2 bathrooms at the same time. It's amazing. I've never had 2 bathrooms before. I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. But if you look at it, even past the ice on the outside of the bottle, it's kind of cloudy, which is unusual, it seems like. I don't know if that's a bourbon thing or if there's just something weird about this particular brand, but it's cloudy. Smells nice. Now, Canadian whiskeys, they tend to be smoother, which is fine because they're blended, which is good for the lower price tiers. But like I was saying, the flavors inherent in bourbon that make it such a big deal for most people don't really make it all the way down sometimes. So let's see what this is like. All right, to new beginnings. Woo! That's actually good. That's got some good flavor to it. The alcohol burn afterwards is a bit strong, so if you'll excuse me, I got some of that good old sweet tea. Which itself complements the bourbon flavor quite well. I cannot recommend highly enough mixing your whiskeys with some sweet tea. So, what do we got? Well, it's got lots of good hints of earthy flavors to it. It does taste kind of brown, which is something you want out of some bourbon. It's not a real strong alcohol flavor either, and that's nice. Now, I don't know if this is kind of cloudy because I add some flavorings to it. They might be kind of water-based, so they freeze up faster than the alcohol does. But you can't really tell it in the drinking of it. There's no chunks or anything in there, so I think that's just a bit of a nice aesthetic touch. So I got this here for $9.99 at a new liquor store nearby. That's pretty good for this. I wouldn't pay more than $10.50 for this. It's good. It's not bottom barrel, like bad, but alright, tolerable. It's actually pretty quality stuff. And you can do a whole lot worse for $9.99. So yeah, get yourself some Zackariah Harris and have yourselves a good evening. Thanks for watching, y'all. See you next time.